Hey you guys, it's me Kianna coming at you again today, and I wanted to do this video this morning, it's a continuation. As many of you guys know, once a week we're going to have a topic, and it is to promote our spiritual growth. It is basically to dissect some things that we need to do in our life, and I come at you guys not as an expert on these things. I come at you guys not as knowing it all. What I do actually come at you guys is learning just like maybe you are. And since I'm learning, I said, why not just learn together? Because that's what we should do as women. That's what we should do as people in general. And although we may fall and although we may get sidetracked at times, the reality and the thing that matters most is not if you fall, but how you actually get back up and you do so gracefully. So, you guys know we had got into the 7 principles I gave regarding the Proverbs 31 woman, biblically. And we got into that, but I told you guys in the last video that I wanted to get into the 10 virtues of a Proverbs 31 woman. And the reason why we're doing this is because we, all of us, use this term Proverbs 31 woman so loosely. We use it so loosely that they even have t-shirts that have Proverbs 31 woman on it. And these are women that are not exhibiting Proverbs 31 women behavior. Now, we all fall short, and that's the thing. We're going to find that out not only from the first video, and if you haven't watched that, go back and watch that video. It's going to have Proverbs 31 in the title. It's going to be, I think it says Proverbs 31 woman. Are we really? That's the title, and I think it's quite fitting because we're going to see by looking at that video and also getting into this that we all fall short of that Proverbs 31 woman. That's why when people throw that term around so loosely, and in fact a lot of people, as I told you before, use that term towards me, and you know, and they say it in a loving manner towards me, saying that I am that. I fall so short of that. And that's why we need to dissect the word. We need to actually get into the word, not just use what others define as a Proverbs 31 woman. Actually find out what that actually means. If we need to break down the actual words itself, then that's what we're going to do. Now, with the 10 virtues of a Proverb woman, I said that what I'll do is I'll start off by actually defining what virtuous means. What the actual word of virtuous means. So I just went ahead and looked it up for you guys. And I'm just going to go over, just if you Google the word virtuous, what that actually means. It means having or showing virtue, especially moral excellence in life. It also often affiliates virtuous with being pure. It also affiliates it with being infectiously good. That's a really, really good word. Just think about it. Infectiously good. Moral excellence, righteousness, upright, characterized by morality, moral excellence, a quality of practice of moral excellence and righteousness. These are all words that are defined just simply by Googling the word virtuous. So we had to actually understand what that word means in order to get into the 10 virtues of the Proverbs 31 woman. So I'm going to start off with number 1. We're at 4 minutes. I'm going to make sure this video is 16 minutes, you guys, because I don't want it to be, you know, you can't see me talking and going on because YouTube has been doing that lately. So let me get into this. Hopefully I don't go over my time. Number 1, faith. A virtuous woman serves God with all of her heart, mind, and soul. She seeks His will for her life and follows His way. See, that's the thing. We have to let this inner man inside of us, you guys. We need to pray for him to die, this inner man. Why? Because we need to, like I said in the first video, the definition of sanctification is less of me and more of God. And I think that is for all of us, but right now we're specifically talking to women and regarding the Proverbs 31 woman. And I think we need to understand that is a must for being a Proverbs 31 woman. You need to seek His will. Not our will shall be done, but His will to be done for her life, and she follows His way. Number 2, marriage. Okay? A virtuous woman respects her husband, and she does him good all of the days of her life. She is trustworthy, and she is a helpmate to him. Now, a lot of people, I've noticed, even if you go back in the comments, we have an issue with us as wives saying anything about being submissive, using the word respect. For some reason, even if you go in the comments before, and this is not calling nobody out, this is just pointing out how we have it embedded in us, no matter anything else I said. And notice I gave 7 principles and did a 20-something minute long video. The most that was pointed out as far as people not knowing if, not really, as people saying that they needed help with, or people saying that they fall short, or either, adding to it saying that the man needs to be this or the husband needs to be that. That was the most commented issue. And I think that whether we want to admit it or not, we as women, we do not like the word all the time. Submissive, respect sometimes, because these things, not the respect issue, but being submissive, and that's next week's topic, submission, and what that actually entails, especially when we have to be so strong and wear so many hats as women. So that's going to be a good topic. Next week, that's going to be the topic. But I think we have an issue because society has told us what submission means, even though that the biblical term and the biblical definition is it's quite different than what we assume as our mind automatically goes to. And when we're talking about husbands, you guys, please understand this is biblical characteristics and traits that we should have. Okay, when we're talking about things, we're talking about a godly husband automatically. That goes without saying. Why? Because we're talking about a biblical relationship. We're talking about a equally yoked relationship or marriage. That's what we're talking about. So when it says that you need to respect your husband, it's saying for a husband that is a godly husband, a husband that is the head and not the tail, a husband, because hopefully you didn't marry someone that you're unequally yoked with. Let's go back to that. Let's go back to the beginning. The reason why I said let's go back to the beginning, because if we marry people that we're not equally yoked with, it's going to cause confusion, because again, going back to that number 1, she seeks his will, meaning our Father's will, and follows his way. And his way tells us to marry someone that we're equally yoked with. His way is for us to marry, and his intentions is for us to marry a God-fearing man, a godly man. That's why in the Bible we're supposed to always be covered. If you look at the Bible's process of a woman when she marries her husband, God's intention is for a woman to always be covered, whether it's by her father, her earthly father, her godly father, and also her husband. Why do I say that? Okay. The reason why I say that is because she is supposed to leave her home from her earthly father, transfer directly from her home with her earthly father to her husband. She's supposed to be covered both ways. One covering, that's why he gives her away to the husband. Her earthly father gives her away. One covering, leaving one covering directly to another. The problem is, nowadays, we are not being covered. And we need to get into that. I may do another video after this, because we need to get into that, because that's God's intentions. But we all know that we as humans, we are often off of God's, that's his intentions. We often stray off of his intentions, you guys. We all know that. And that's when problems come. Okay? But we are not being covered like we're supposed to be. And that's how a lot of things become issues in our life, because we are not being covered, to be honest. So when I say that, a virtuous woman respects her husband, I'm not saying a husband that doesn't respect her. I'm not saying that, and she should respect him even if he doesn't respect her. But again, it goes back, like I said, to the beginning of, did she in fact marry a godly man? Because a godly man wants nothing more than to have a godly wife. And a godly man is going to do the things he need to do to make that godly wife happy, and in turn she does the same. So it's a give and give. It's often not a balanced stuff, because sometimes you get, like I said, that unequally yoked issue, and then one person is giving and doing the things they're supposed to do as far as being a wife or a husband or whatever, and then the other one is not doing it all the way. So it feels like sometimes when we are in that situation, and if we are in that situation, we feel like we're being stupid. Why do we feel like we're being stupid? Because we feel like we are living the way we need to live, and they are not, or the husband is not. And you feel sometimes stupid. That's the flesh of us. But we need to come to an understanding. I'm going to get into the next part. But we need to come to an understanding that we need to not, we see it as pleasing our husbands, when we need to see it more as pleasing our Father. Okay? If you understand what I'm saying. Because when we do these things, we're not just pleasing our husbands, we're pleasing our Father. Okay? So, stop, Pootie. Let me go ahead, because we already at 11 minutes. Let me go ahead and get into number 3. Pootie, go ahead. Let me go ahead and get into number 3. Mothering. A virtuous woman teaches her children the ways of her Father in heaven. She nurtures her children with the love of Christ, disciplines them with care and with wisdom, and trains them in the way they should go. Again, I'm just going to say this again. She disciplines them with care and wisdom, and trains them in the way that they should go. Number 4, and I think that we all can apply this and should apply this, and we have an issue with this in our community. And also with the fact that we just are busy and we often just grab whatever we can and all of that. But let me just read what number 4 says. Health. A virtuous woman cares for her body and prepares healthy food for her family. Now, we all are Christians. We all know that we all fall short. The question is, what do you fall short with? Now, I may not drink and drug and party and hang with a whole bunch of people that I shouldn't hang with. But my issue may be number 4. I don't care for my body and I don't prepare healthy food for my family. So that's why I said we all fall short somewhere. The question is not if you fall short. The question is, what are you doing actively in your life to change those things? That's what the question is. And you have to understand that God knows the desires of our heart. So if we have the true desire to change these things, that we're not just dwelling in sin, and we're not just enjoying the sin and not even thinking about a second guessing or thinking about it as far as if God is pleased by it or if he's not pleased by it, that's an issue. Okay? So it's not about Christians being perfect, because that, as you can see, it takes it's a lot, and none of us are going to live up to all of these things. It's not going to happen. But what we can do is, like I said, he knows the desires of our hearts. He knows if we are really striving to do the best that we can. He knows that we juggle a lot. He knows that we wear so many hats. He knows all of these things, you guys. But it's a difference between falling short and asking for forgiveness and asking him to restore you and make you better, and dwelling in sin and constantly doing the same things over and over again and could care less what he thinks. It's a humongous difference. So we all can do better at that as well, including myself. Number 5, service. Serves her husband, friends, neighbors, and families with a gentle and loving spirit. She is charitable. Now, again, I'm pretty sure people are going to point out she serves her husband. Of course, people are going to point that out because I told you, we automatically as women, because we're strong and stuff, when we hear certain things, we cringe. Whether it's the truth, whether it's the word, it doesn't matter. We still cringe about it. And the thing is that we need to do it with a gentle and loving spirit, not specifically for the man only. We need to do it, like I said, for our Father, because he dictates we do so. Number 6, finances. She seeks her husband's approval when she spends wisely. That means that if that's her strong point, she is to because, like I said again, we're talking about a godly husband. A godly husband already knows all these things. He already strives to do these things. He already strives to be the best father and husband that he can be. He already knows the characteristics that he's supposed to have as far as being the head, not the tail of the home, and the high priestess of the home. He already knows these things. So going to him and y'all getting together and making decisions financially, that won't bother you if you have that type of husband that knows that. The only way I've noticed that it's an issue for those kind of things is if men have they have control issues, B, they're not godly, so they look at it as, you know, or they take advantage of the fact that you are godly and maybe they're not. Again, with the unequally yoked, again, it goes all the way back. It goes back to that again. But we're going to get into that. Number 7, industry. Works willingly with her hands. She praises God and doesn't grumble while completing tasks. That's important. I think we all can work on that, you guys. My time is over, so you probably just listening to me. You probably can't. You can only hear me. You can't see me. But she works willingly with her hands and she doesn't complain. I think we all, when we do dishes and stuff like that, you guys, the reality is sometimes we be mad, sometimes we be complaining, but we just need to tame our tongues. We just need to do all things with praise in our heart and thanksgiving in our spirit. And again, not pleasing just man, pleasing God, because this is what he says that we should do. And I think when we look at things that way, instead of just looking at we're trying to please man, I think that we'll see that things will come more naturally. We'll see that things are more bearable. We'll see that a lot of things will fall into place if we do these things. Like I said, if you change, then if you are around people that are non-believers and they see no change in you, then why do you think that they will want to change? Because at that point they're seeing no change and they're thinking, what kind of God do you serve? So if you ever want to show a believer the true strength of God and the true mercy and grace of God, let them see change in you. Because these changes will create a light around you that they have no choice but to see. You don't even have to speak about it. You can at that point strictly be about it. So on that note, you guys, I hope you got something from it, because I sure did by looking into this. Next week it will be being submissive, and what that actually means, and can we actually do that? Can we find a balance of being strong and submissive? And does being submissive actually mean being weak? Does it mean being meek or weak? What does it actually mean? That's what we're going to get into. We're going to dissect all that. So on that note, you guys, I love you so much. I thank you all for rolling with me. Be blessed.